team. Hi, it's David Smith here. Just wanting to touch base for a couple of seconds and say, hey, I wanted to show you, we're going to shrink that down a little bit too big. I'm just going to show you here Claude AI. We're probably familiar with Claude. This is him here, right? Start your new chat. There was something I tried the other day and I thought I might show you this. This is a prompt that we have created. So if we have a look here, this is, you are an experienced educator and pedagogical innovator, adept at designing impactful learning strategies that can transform classroom constraints into powerful opportunities for growth, right? So the idea here is that you've assigned a role to the AI, then you're going to give it a context. So that's where you share what specific classroom constraints that you might have, right? You're going to ask it to produce tasks, explain the advantage of it, give an implementation phase, discuss some milestone tracking, what output do you want to give, and also perhaps just talk about a little bit of the tone, what you want to, the tone you want to get back from it. All right, so I then submitted my syllabus, and here it goes. So it gave me this idea here, the learning outcome, right? A little bit generic when you have a look through. Then it came into the implementation phase. So phase one, a visual dictionary. Yeah, okay, this is pretty good. All right, so when you are building intervention plans, you can then take some of these ideas and put them into your plans with regards to your learners. So it's quite helpful. Let's have a look here. Implementing hands-on market simulations. Yes, this is all pretty good, but still it's a little bit generic. Okay, it's not necessarily particularly specific. So then when we got to the milestone tracking, it started to get quite specific. So matching key terms, visual representation, aiming for 80% accuracy. There's a little bit more depth to that, and I can throw that into an intervention plan quite easily. All right. Then you get through, there's your success metrics. What are you expecting to see? Then I asked it to elaborate. So here we go. So 20 terms, match them, right? Concept mapping, what sorts of concepts might we look at? Basic vocabulary, right? So vocabulary cards and flashcards, right? How you can do it, peer review, concept maps. Okay, so it is offering up some quite good practical strategies that you can use in your class, just in your class in general. Obviously, I'm designing this for an intervention strategy for some learners, but it is actually really useful. And then, push it a little bit further. There's your third milestone. And it said, do you want some examples? I said, yes, give me some examples. So here it came up with this as an example potentially of this. So again, if you are having to create documentation about your strategies or about your plans, your schemes of work, you can then just copy and paste the activity idea straight in. What does it look like? The concept mapping, right? And it gives it for all of these individual activities, tells you the time, right, that you might allocate, and gives you the example of what you can do. So that was really good. And then what about marking criteria? So it came up with different marking criteria. So you see here it is, how much time are you allowed? What materials do you need? So again, just putting this into your planning makes it a lot more in-depth rather than just how do I teach this. It gives you quite a significant level of depth that will help you in the future. Now, I don't know quite why it did grade boundaries with A and C stars, because my syllabus isn't A and C star, A to C. So, but in any case, so there's some examples of the different tasks. There's the concept mapping idea, how you might mark it, and it goes through all of them, which is really quite clever. After, so this is for that transaction, the pretend market, your portfolio checklists, and then, for example, here for each element, clear diagrams, labels. So it gives you all of that information, very helpful. So then I thought, okay, well, can I have this, how to implement it in your classroom? So let's have a look. So here's keywords from a word bank. All right, might be quite a useful one. Yeah, obviously you'd want to go through and check that it is actually as useful as you think. But I quite like the idea that it adds things like linking words. So if you've got learners who, for English is not necessarily their first language, or they struggle with writing, right? So here are some sentence starters, right? and obviously explanation phrases in and through here. What does a concept map actually look like? And it gives you an example of what a concept map might look like. So again, you can copy that and use that so to show the students what that might look like. Can I have some examples? So now the example doesn't look great, I've got to say, the sample student work, but I do like what their explanation is. So even though it's probably not the top level, the explanation gives you enough that you can then work with the learners. All right, English levels, scaffolding templates, and the like. So that's that idea. Now, I thought, okay, that's really good. What else could it do? And so let's check. So this, it then decided to create some flashcards for me. So supply and demand and the market equilibrium, and then the students have to explain what's happening within them. Again, they're not brilliant, but at the very least, they're going to give you an idea. Oh, here we go, student tracking progress. So again, giving you an example of what you could possibly do with regards to student tracking. So tick the box to say that they've either completed, in progress, or not started that particular bit of work. Now, what about differentiation? Let's have a look. Here we go, differentiated worksheets. Right, so again, level 1, what does it look like? Complete the work here, close exercise. Level 2, complete a table. All right, what are they expected to do? Level 3, a little bit more advanced. And then if you go to the next topic, business costs, match the picture. And again, it's just broken it down into the different levels of English because that was one of the things that I suggested would be a useful thing to do. All right. Now, again, this is all really useful, but how do we know about the marking of it? Well, the rubrics in and of themselves look like this. So what is an expert, proficient, limited, the sorts of marks you can give. Then in here, the actual sentence descriptors that are useful to use. Right. Quite a helpful thing to be able to put in. And then if you want this as a template, this interactive idea, they've got one of those too, with this, and then you just click on the button saying what is happening there with that. That's not too bad. I think, because they haven't got the axes in here, it's not as good perhaps in the labeling as you might possibly want, right? So all of this information is given to you, and then I thought, well, let's have some specific questions. Let's see what they can do. Let's try this here and create a student guide. So here we go, economics learning journey, self-assessment guide. Then they get to decide where they are with regards to the different levels of work, with graphing, with real-world examples, skills checking for the different topics. And then it says, what are your goals? What are you hoping to achieve? What have you achieved each week? Right, the different vocabulary that you've learnt, tick the boxes. And you can just copy this and put it into a Google Doc and ta-da, intervention steps created. All right. Now, this is all really useful and I've been really impressed with it. And it will also do things like the visual indicators, so which you can see what the sort of examples are that they are talking about. Okay, maybe you can add a bit more detail. So here's a bit more of an advanced one. So this is for macroeconomics. Again, it hasn't quite worked the way you really want it to, but it gives you an idea at any rate. I don't know if there's, yes, there's an advanced one. Not quite good, but certainly gives you a good step in the right direction. I did want visual reference sheets, and it created this, but the actual visualness of it I wasn't 100% happy with. But I did like the definitions and key features. So what I ended up doing was copying the whole thing and actually deleting the imagery here so that it was just the key points, right? So that you could then explain the key points of each individual section. What is it that has been shown, right? Can you identify these key areas? What do these tools mean? What effects do they have? So that it's a little bit more of a like a checklist in a way, but a quick reference for them. Common calculations, that's a useful one for them to have. So all of this is just in Claude, and it's just about interventions. Now, I did try to get it to, because it talked about having a color-coded version, And it looked quite good, and I saw it here, and I thought, yeah, that might be quite useful, having it color-coded, so a blue section, a green section, and a red section. But translating that across, it didn't quite work with regards to the colors into Google Docs. It didn't quite look, as you can see, it's not really what we're after. But the terminology and the like is always useful to have, and then it went into the different colors down there. I don't think that's particularly helpful. But there might be something in here that is useful for you to have in an intervention program or just adding to your scheme of work. So this one, for example, here, that's just a quick progress tracker. Click the button, where they're up to with the individual topics. Then able to share that with the students, okay? Or maybe this here, which is a printable version. So this is a printable progress tracker. How are you getting on with individual aspects of the market system? And again, they write down what their target is. They write down what they've achieved. Have they done their monthly goal? Then at the end, their milestones. What do they then need to focus on? Any assessment results? And again, you just put this into your intervention plans, and they're able then to take some ownership of the revision in and of themselves. Now, it always will ask for more. It will say, do you want to do this and have it simplified? Do you want more detail? Do you want mini achievement certificates for completed? Oh, I'd like to do that, mini achievement certificates. That would be really good. All right. So this is just using Claude AI. I know there are some other tools out there that will do something similar. I hope this was helpful. Now, the full prompt for this, right, I managed to borrow from a colleague, right, and I'm perfectly happy to share that prompt with you, right? If you want to email me, and I will email you that particular prompt. I find it quite a useful one with regards to developing these sorts of things, right? But the key part is state the role, who you want the AI to be, and then what is it, the task, be quite definitive with regards to what you actually are wanting them to achieve. Then it will ask you lots more questions, right, with regards to it, and you can then add and get it to expand on the things that it is showing you. All right, thank you very much. Hey, Cornetto, have a fantastic day. We will see you around.